Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's move on to the next category. At least 90% of clubs have a Rotary Foundation team leader identified in my Rotary. I have not actually looked through to see how many clubs have a Rotary Foundation team leader identified. I know my club does, and Leewood does, and so does several others, but I think getting 90% of our clubs, we're at 41 now. Well, actually 42 as of the first of the year. We will be 41 by the end of the year. So that's 38 clubs that would be identified by the Rotary Foundation team leader. I think that's going to be a really tough one because Chuck, you're already raising your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, just as an FYI, Farron, on the membership side, we thought the same thing, that because the goal there is 90% membership team leaders.
Right.
So we didn't select that one. Still going to try to reach it, but it will be not one of the three.
Yeah, and if we can reach that by the end of the Rotary year, we'll be achieving something we've never achieved in this district, like ever, since I've been a member.
Same on the membership side too.
Yeah, so I think that one's going to be a really lofty goal if we try to make that one. But the next one, conduct at least 2 District Rotary Foundation training seminars with different purposes. Well, we already did one. That was just last Saturday. And then we've got another one coming up with the district grants meeting that we have every year that Greg does. I mean, I think that's 2 right there. And we can list those in there as the, now it says attach agenda and provide dates and locations. So the agenda for the team training, that's already set up, and I can easily just copy that over. But do you have a, I'm looking at Greg right now. Do you have a write-up, an agenda for your training that you do?
I guess, and I'm a big cut and paste person, but yeah. I would just take the slide deck, which I change every year, and it's actually on the district website already, is the PowerPoint slide deck, and pick, I don't know what you want to call an agenda, other than it's, go through, the first part of the agenda is explaining the whole flow of the Rotary Foundation. Second thing is explaining how to apply. Third thing is what to apply for. I mean, it depends on how detailed you want it. All I do is flip through that and kind of come up with the 5 bullet points that I go through every year. You just tell me how detailed you want it, and I can get you, basically a synopsis of the PowerPoint, which is, again, in the big thing, that's my agenda when I'm going through. So I keep on task and on point so I can get it all done.
I think that's, I don't think it has to be all that detailed. I think that you've got a high level view of, okay, this is what we're going to talk about, but you don't have to give a whole lot of meat to it, because we are sending this to, regional leadership that has been through grants training many times and probably knows this like the back of their hand. So just letting them know what we're
so as long as you, as long as you're talking, again, that 5 or 6 bullet points, I can throw that together, from the flow of how the actual grants training goes. Because it's, again, other than some of the names and the dollars, the basics stay the same as far as, getting people up to speed on where to find things and how to do it. So I'll send you that in an email, probably today or tomorrow then.
So when did you do the grants training for the last Rotary year, which would have been March or April, maybe May?
Give me a second, and I'll give you the actual date.
Okay.
Talk 2020. 4/26/22.
4/26/22. So what day of the week was that? Do you remember?
I can go to a calendar and tell you.
Oh, well, I can do that. It's on a Tuesday. So,
Sounds good to me. Yeah,
so
and we,
let's just say, I mean, we don't have to stick to this. We can always change it. But let's just put in there, when you send me that agenda, put in there that we're gonna do our training on April 18th of 23. Because that would be the same third Tuesday of the month in April.
okay, and because the prior one was like the 12th of April, so that kind of makes sense. We'll be within that because we try to keep it kind of connected to pets training, even though this last year was actually a separate session. But yeah, April is when I like it, so I think that's it's as good a number as anything. And I'll put that on there.
Okay, yeah, put that on there. That way we've got that one wrapped up. Have at
Hey,
least,
Farron,
yes.
before you leave this one, do you happen to have an outline, or I'm sorry, the agenda for Saturday? An electronic version of it?
Last Saturday, team?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it.
Oh, okay, because I don't. And I'm gonna text Ellen to see if she could send it to me. But
Okay.
since you got it, I won't bother then.
Well, it never hurts to have it. I know.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I don't have an electronic version of it, so
Why don't you go ahead and reach out to her and get it?
I'll get it. Okay, will do.
And
I asked Mandy to send me a complete set of the handout package if she has a copy of it, because it has other information in it that was handed out.
well, all we need for team for this challenge is the agenda that they had, and Chuck,
Oh,
will
yeah.
you get that, forward that over to me?
Will do. Yes, sir.
Because I'm pretty sure
Jim, do
I've
you
got
need
it,
it
but I
too?
want to be sure. But with what Greg sends me and with team that's already happened, I think we've got that second one in category 2 knocked out. Let's see, at least 50% of clubs have a member complete a TRF related course on Rotary's Learning Center. That'll be, of course, promotion, and that'll fall on me, but I'm sure we can make that happen. That's 50% of the clubs, not 50% of the members. So that's one member out of 42 clubs. So that's 21 people in separate clubs that would have to do that. I think that's very doable. So I'm going to mark that one as one we can achieve. And then, of course, to complete that, it would have to, they would have to actually show that they had actually done it. The next one, number 4, the DRC or another significant team member attends the Rotary Foundation training session. Well, I'm already scheduled for zone. I'm going to be there. So that one's done.
Aren't you an officer?
What's that?
Are you a zone officer?
I am.
Then you're not eligible. According,
Where does it say that?
says, there's number 4. Did I misread that?
Oh, I see. Not a zone officer. Well, I'm not a zone officer with Foundation.
Oh, okay, right.
I'm an ARC, not the Rotary Foundation assistant.
That was a little hard to interpret. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
We'd done it and then you couldn't count it.
Right. So that one I'm going to count as done. And then
I would.
and then at least bi-monthly program progress updates, so club leadership knows where they stand in relation to their giving goals. Well, that's at our leadership meeting. Every month we do a leadership meeting. So that one's done as far as I'm concerned, because all I got to do is pull up the numbers and say where we are. And of course, Jim does that at all the leadership meetings too with Polio Plus.
Yeah.
So I think we're good there. And as we said, we only need 3 in each category. Annual fund. A specific plan with actionable steps to increase annual fund giving in the district, including a copy of the plan. And my opinion on this one is one of the things that we are doing right now to increase our annual giving is the Gathering for Good.
Mhm.
And we raised over 27,000 on the last one. And I think since this is the third year that we will be doing it, and we've got plenty of time to plan for it, it's May 6th of next year. And we can really pump this thing really hard and try to get as many people there as much as we can and try to raise as much as possible. We just had a fundraiser here in Topeka for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and in one night they raised 78,000. So it's doable. It's very, very doable. We can easily double that, if not triple it. And I think, you know, this group needs to be heavily involved in that as well to try to promote it as much as possible and get people there. And Bill, this is an area where you could really be doing some promotion for people to get their major donors, because my vision here is that if you've got people right on the edge, I mean, bidding on one of those live auction items, that'll put you right over that edge pretty quickly. It did for me. You know, I've made me a major donor. So, so that's, and plus you get something in return, you know, so you make it fun as you're doing it. It's not just saying, hey, give me money. You know, we turned it into a really fun event. So that's what my plan is for that, is to promote the Gathering for Good as far as that's concerned. Number two, 95% of your district set a TRF annual fund goal. I don't think, if we ever achieve that, it will be unbelievable, because I don't see that ever happening. Well, I mean, I shouldn't be negative and say it will never happen, but it will be a shock to me if and when it does.
It's not going to happen by September 1st, which is when it's due.
Right. No, that's not going to happen, and not by September 1st. So something else here, number 3, I want to show you something here. I'm going to switch on my screen sharing. I'm going to switch to a new share. And I got it. Okay. So let me stop share on this one and go to my other one I was going to share with you. This is, okay, where are we?
While you're doing that, Farron, I wanted to raise a question concerning that first category. We rather slipped over I think it was point 3 that had to do with the website. But
Yes.
I think that it would be very valuable, whether there's a challenge or not, to have a more comprehensive representation of foundation activities on our district website. And so I was hoping that didn't just get lost.
No. In fact, we've been trying to do that already. Probably not the best job of it, but we do have on there where you can go in and look at district grants, global grants, and so forth, if you're a member, that is. But I don't know that everyone knows how to get there. And then I know we have been doing write-ups on foundation in just about every newsletter, which of course I know all of you read from top to bottom every single time it comes out. Yeah, I'm kidding when I say that. But yeah, that's something we need to do a better job of, and you actually mentioned that before as well. But I wanted to bring this up right here on category 3, item 3. Okay, increasing the district's overall per capita contribution to the annual fund by at least $5. So if you look at this, last year we had the per capita giving was $171.67. Okay, so they want us to raise that by $5 per person. So if you look over here at numbers of members, we lost 118 members last year. And so that 1956 times 5 is $9,780 more. That's $9,780. Okay. But if you're looking at 171.67 plus 5 times 1956, that's $345,566. That's $10,000 less than what we raised last year. So I think that's very doable.
Mhm.
I don't see a problem with that at all. And I think, once again, this is kind of a, I was surprised when we did the first Gathering for Good. I've come back to that again. When we did the first one, of course, I'm the one who kind of started that and got the committee together to get this going. And the club that couldn't figure out why they had so much in the annual fund was my own club. That they looked at their annual share fund and they're like, why is there so much money in there? And it's like, well, remember that thing we had last month? So it's a fun way of kind of sneaking that in there and getting our per capita giving up. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted it to happen. So I think we can achieve that one. Increase the number of every Rotarian every year participants in the district by 10%. So every Rotarian every year is where here?
It's a different chart, I believe.
Let's see. No, it's not.
Mhm.
It's right down here.
Yeah.
Recognition and endowment measures.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So for 2021 and 22, that is 1122 is how many we had in 2021 and 22. And we have to increase it by 10%. So it's not 10% of our members, it's 10% of 1122.
Mhm.
That's 112 people. And
Don't you have some clubs, Farron, that are like 100%, a few of those that help that?
what's that again?
I think there's a few clubs out there that are trying to be 100% ERE-wide that would tend to help. We should promote. Is there some way we create a banner or some kind to put out there as an incentive for some of these clubs that are close but haven't quite made it all the way?
I'm not sure if we have that or not. I don't think we do, but I mean, it's something that can be developed. The other thing though, which is something I can be promoting as well, is I think we really need to be promoting the Rotary Direct, because if someone is putting in $8.33 a month, $8.33. I mean, that's less than what I spent on 2 beers last night. I mean, it is $8.33, and if you do it direct, you don't even see it. It comes out before you even see it. So that's where I think we could really get more people, especially younger ones, to do that.
Where'd
But
you find $4 beer?
what's that?
Where'd you find $4 beer? That's
Well, if you go to Blind Tiger on the right night.
okay.
I've had a couple of people a little confused about Rotary Direct. They think that they can only do it once. Well, you can have as many Rotary Directs going to different places in
Yeah.
the nation that you want to, which is why Polio Plus Society is different from the annual fund and other.
Well, and that's going to be part of my,
We need to
what I
promote
put in the newsletter too, is to try to promote that and do some other way, try to find some other ways to do that. So promote Rotary Direct. Okay, so let's look at this again. So I had down though that that's going to be a pretty tall one. 10%, 112 members becoming every Rotarian every year. I'm not sure that we're going to achieve that. We can try. There's no reason not to try, but I don't think that might not be achieved. Increase the active number of Paul Harris Society members in the district by 5% compared to 2021 and 22. Carol, this is where you come in.
Right. I wanted to clarify something. When it says increase the active number, it doesn't, to me, that doesn't just mean a 5% additional Paul Harris Society members, but it also means those who are Paul Harris Society members but haven't been giving their 1,000 a year. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's where the active is. And it's got down here on this chart that I've got up that for last year, we had 115 Paul Harris Society members, eligible Paul Harris Society members. Now, this is a report that we can pull up.
Well, and last year, I hate to say this, but last year was my first year. And so I had talked to Vern about getting me a report of those members so I could handwrite some notes or, do some contacting directly. And I never did get that report. So if you tell me either where to get it or can send it to me with names and addresses and that kind of thing, that would be handy.
I can do that.
Because then I would definitely do some direct. In fact, I bought a bunch of Rotary note cards so that I could write some personal notes.
Perfect. Perfect. I love it.
At the same time, I would also encourage them to do their donating through Rotary Direct.
Yep. That's it. That's absolutely it. That's why I'm a Paul Harris Society member. $85 a month. It's super easy.
Yeah. Or, I do mine quarterly, 250 quarterly, and it just happens and you don't even have to think about it. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like you said, I mean, it's every month or every quarter. You don't even think about it. It just happens. And next thing you know, wow, I've been a Paul Harris Society member for several years.
And I think we only had, trying to remember, but I think we only had 3 members in the district become Paul Harris Society members last year.
That wouldn't surprise me, but I can tell you with a little bit of promotion and a little bit of
Right.
stoking the fire here, if you will, we're only looking at 6 people.
Yep.
Uh,
I think that'd be
5%.
great.
I think that's very doable. So I'm going to, you tell me what reports you want, Carol, and you're going to get them, or at least have a avenue to get to it.
Right. Yeah.
And
If I can just get the names and addresses of the current ones,
Yep.
that's a good place to start. And I don't know whether that report would tell me. It should probably, if they're currently active or not.
There is one that does tell you that.
That'd be great. That's what I need.
Yeah, and I have to, I can't remember exactly which one, but I've been all over the Rotary website for 4 different districts. So
Great.
I know it's out there. You just got to get the one that you're looking for.
Super.
So, and then of course, Jim, as you were mentioning before, the other is a wild card that we can probably easily get. Well, the Gathering for Good fits that one too.
Mhm.
Because that's an other. That's something that not every district is doing. So
Yeah, you put the money in the first one and then describe it in the 6th one.
yep. What's that now?
Well, you're going to get the credit for the amount for the dollars in that early in the plan, and then when you describe it up to under 1, and then you take credit for it in 6 when you describe it as something that's different and innovative.
Right. Okay. Category 4, Bill, this has got you all over it.
Yeah, good ideas.
Yep. So I'm looking at you, Bill, to help with all of this. What I would like to see you do is if you could write up a narrative on these, because I'm thinking develop a specific plan with actionable steps to increase the amount of giving to the endowment fund. If you could possibly write something up.
I don't see a September 1st deadline on any of these things, but
Not
I
this one.
assume it's sooner the better.
Yeah, sooner the better. And let's see, identify 10 prospective major donors. That's something that Stephanie can help you with, because I was looking, there is a donor summary report that she can pull. And as soon as I get, I haven't been recognized by RI as a DRFC yet. Of course, for all purposes, I'm already acting as that, but RI takes their time on getting that up there, and we really need them to get that changed, because there's a lot of stuff I need to sign off on. But still, all the paperwork's been filed, all that's done. RI just has to flip a switch and say that I'm the DRFC. That's all they got to do.
Yeah, I'm going to need, what I need is access to information that
Yep.
I have not had access to. And so that would be very valuable.
Well, the only two people in the district that can access that donor summary report, and it's because of privacy issues, of course.
Sure.
That are the DRFC and the DG. And I think the immediate PDG can access it as well for the following year. But there are ways to run that report to where you can see that very thing, where you can look at, because I've done that myself when I was DG, looking through there, seeing who's right on the edge, who's going to be the next major donor. And of course, when you're talking about events like Gathering for Good or contributing to Polio Plus or something like that, all of that adds to your major donor status. And those are definite areas where we can say, hey, guess what? You're only $500 away from your major donor too. Come on, you obviously care for the foundation. So how about, bidding on something, or how about fulfilling your obligation to Polio Plus or something like that?
Sure.
Push them over
Karen?
the edge.
Carol, I should know this, but can you define major donor for me?
Yes, major donor is someone who is given through Polio Plus or through the annual share fund. They have given 10,000 or more. That is the major donor level 1. Major donor level 2 is 25,000, and major donor level 3 is 100,000. And then we do have an Arch Clump Society member on here, and that number is much more than 100,000.
Well,
So
the reason I asked is I just got my stuff from RI that I was a major donor, and frankly, I didn't even know that. So,
well, if you're a Paul Harris Society member for 10 years, you're going to be a major donor.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I guess that I just had not paid attention to those different increasing levels. So
Well,
anyway, that was great. It was great news, but I just wanted to make sure I understood the categories. Thank you.
Congratulations, Carol.
yeah,
Oh,
congratulations. And
Thank you.
something that Bill brought up to me in an email is recognizing our major donors, especially the new ones, and making a big deal out of it, like a district conference or some other event. I think that's a really big deal. For instance, I knew where I was on the giving tree there, and I was at 9,000, and it's like, okay, well, I bid on a trip at the Gathering for Good, $2,000. It's like, oh, well, there I am. There I go. That's how you get it. But, I think, Bill, you could do a lot of promotion on this with some of the major donors that are really close, and say, here, you want to get there, here's a fun way to do it.
I'll go ahead and write something up and send it to you.
That sounds great, because that's exactly what I'm looking for. And so I'm thinking on this category, endowment fund, we've got the first one, that's Bill writing that up. And then the identifying 10 major donors, we can make that happen, because like I said, Stephanie's the one that can pull that report now. As soon as I get named DRFC by RI, I can pull it too. But for now, I think I can get a hold of Stephanie and kind of help her find out how to get there, because since she's new to this, I don't know if she knows exactly how to pull that report, because it took me a bit before I knew about it. but I'll get her to get a report to you so that we can identify some people that, that we probably need to push on just a little bit to see if we can get them there. And
On
then,
on a lighter note, let me tell you, Rotary has been really good to me as a donor to me because I met my husband there 30 years ago.
oh.
Sounds to me like him too.
Well, I'm glad you're still saying that was a good thing.
Yeah.
But we can't
Exactly.
promise something like that to every donor.
No,
That's-
no, we can't.
You know, the gentleman that brought my husband into Rotary told him when he brought him in that it was going to change his life. And he reminds me all the time that it did.
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
Okay, increase the number of new major gifts by 10%. And major gifts, major donors, major gifts, here we go. So that is 7. So let's see, increase the number of new major gifts by 10% as
That's
compared.
one more.
Yeah, that's one more. I mean,
I think
that's-
we can do that.
I think we can too, pretty easily. So I think that's very doable. And let's see here. Okay, so, yeah, okay, so we got number 1, number 2. I think number 4 is very doable. And work with regional leaders and Rotary staff to conduct major donor recognition and cultivate event or cultivation event, provide date and location. Well, once again, we can make that either district conference or we can make it Gathering for Good. And I think maybe we're not going to hand out, one of the big stipulations about Gathering for Good is that we're not handing out any awards whatsoever at Gathering for Good. We can do those at district conference, but you know, the whole idea behind the Gathering for Good is to have fun and keep it lighthearted and people loose with their pockets. And, you know, that's why we have an open bar there. But you know, something we could do, we could put in there that, you know, I can provide a slide, which Bill would provide for me, that I could just present at the Gathering for Good and have it up there for people to see who the major donors are. Or at least the new major donors possibly. And be able to promote that a lot more. So I think that's doable as well. Next one is grants. And Greg, of course, this has you as part of this. And this is where you come in. And so conduct at least 2 training sessions promoting the importance of the Rotary Foundation grants. Well, obviously, I think we've, with the grants training that you're doing already, that fills at least one of those. And so that's kind of a twofer in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. You know, the other thing I would throw in there, and actually even back to the other version, is you know, I haven't seen the agenda for district conference, but you know, there's always those, you know, breakout sessions that you can include in here too.
That's very true. That's very true. So we can be looking at district conference so we could put a training session in there for Rotary Foundation grants. And that's something that actually probably you and I could tag team that.
Right.
And
And, you know, that where I think for those breakout sections, when it's just the general public, you know, that if you have, you know, you have the lead in for what the foundation does, and then do half of it for global grants, just the, you know, the sketch it out, and half of it for district grants, just to inform, you know, the bigger body of membership. But again, I would, you know, always, like I said, just make sure, you know, that, that has been happening. It will probably continue. So take credit for it.
right.
Hey, Farron, what you may want to do is get hold of Steph or Linda Leeper, because Linda's the conference chair.
Yep.
Because I think they're narrowing down into what the breakout sessions are going to be. So I think they're kind of getting set.
Well, that's obviously something I'm going to do because,
Yeah.
you know, with Greg, we've already got the training set up. So if with that and then doing a breakout at district conference, I think we got it covered. So, and let's see, I'm writing this down. Stuff about. Okay. And that would be Greg and I doing that one. I think that'd be pretty easy to put together. So, okay. And then, let's see, where are we? Okay, so 2 training sessions. Let's see, increase the number of global grants reported by your district's district designated funds. We're going to say that's done because we're going to be doing district grants. We're going to be doing global grants like crazy. Stephanie wants to empty out the coffers and leave generally no carry forward whatsoever. And I'm all on board with that. As I've told Stephanie, I serve at the pleasure of the governor. So as long as it's a viable project that that's worthy of the funding, then I'm always going to say yes to it. So that's so I think that's going to be easily done. She's getting pitched with global grants from everywhere, and it's going to be really easy to fill that one, I think, as long as the grants get approved, that of course. And then let's see, reduce the amount of carry forward. Well, if we complete number 2, number 3 is an obvious. Yeah, so that's so those kind of go hand in hand. She ensure all the have current reporting. Okay. And I think number 4 is a doable one too, because we're already doing it. And this district is really strong on using our DDF for various things, scholarships, global grants, and so forth. We've done a fantastic job of that. I don't think a lot of other districts are doing as great a job. Some are, some aren't. And I think that this is something that's very achievable for us. Promoting at least and have at least 2 grants that use resources such as, well, TRF, cadre of technical advisors. That's more than likely going to happen too, because the last global grant that we had approved in this district, we had a cadre member from Denver that came over to basically put his blessing on it. That's about all he did. And he came in, had dinner with us the night before, and then went over and looked at the day center here in Topeka and was there for a couple of hours when it was closed. And we talked about it a lot, and he said, great stuff, and did his write up, and we're gone. We're done. You know, so that's a pretty easy thing, especially if you got a project that's gone well. So I think the category 5 is something we'll easily be able to do, and that's going to be primarily on the Global Grants Committee, but Greg's going to have a piece of this as well. Okay. Next one, partnerships. Work with district public image team to align promotional plans for maximum effectiveness. That's going to be done. I mean, we're already kind of doing that anyway. I mean, this meeting that we're going to have on Friday with Chuck and Jim, me and Dave Lewis with Stephanie, that's all part of this. So that's something I think is easily going to be done. Increase the number of clubs that participate in funding district or global grants that other clubs in your district sponsor. Well, we're kind of already doing that now. We've got a Guatemala grant that's getting ready to be submitted that's got 6 of our clubs involved in it in 3 different districts. And another club from Russell, Kansas, that's going to be involved in it. The club and the host club is is the Lake Atalan Club in Panajachel, Guatemala. So that one global grant in and of itself is helping us achieve this, because that's a whole bunch of clubs involved in that.
Same fair, I bet, with Jennifer Montgomery's proposed grant. That will get a lot of traction too.
So I think that's, and you know, to be involved, I mean, basically, you know, if a club's putting in $1,000 of their to it in cash, they're involved. Their name's on the grant. So I think that is something that's very doable. Partner with other districts to provide funding for at least 2 grants sponsored by clubs in our districts. Well, we're already in the process of doing that as well, getting ready to submit a global grant that would be putting in 2 other districts. And then with Jennifer Montgomery's grant that Chuck was alluding to, that one would be one that I'm going to be reaching out to 5680 once again and seeing if they'll partner with us on that. And because of course, Jennifer is from the AG's office, so that represents the entire state. I think it would be easy to get them involved because they know, there's some of their members know Jennifer Montgomery rather well. And so it would be, I think it'd be easy sell to get them to be a part of that district grant, global grant. So I think we're going to be able to do that pretty easily. Establish relationships with at least 2 non-Rotarian organizations to act as funding partners on global grants. Well, I'm puzzled that that's even in there because you have to establish a relationship with, at least 2 non-Rotarian. You have to establish a relationship with a non-Rotarian organization almost every single time when you are doing global grants. For instance, the one that's with Guatemala is the center there, and it's a nonprofit. The center that's established there in Patanatique, Guatemala. So that's one. And the other one with Jennifer Montgomery is the, remind me, Bill, you probably know about off the top of your head. What's the Magenta Girls?
Yeah, that's her nonprofit. Yes.
Yes, Magenta Girls. There's your nonprofit right there. Non-Rotarian organization. That's what that would be that you'd be partnering with if we did that global grant as well. So, you know, on almost every single global grant I've seen, you're partnering with a non-Rotarian organization to try to get everything accomplished. Like the Day Center was the YWCA, for example. And in Kansas City, it was Rended Heart. In Manhattan, we partnered with Homestead Ministries. So,
Right.
I mean, I think
Farron, I
we-
want, oh, excuse me for interrupting. I wonder whether most members of the Paul Harris Society realize that they could donate part or all of their $1,000 per year to these grants and have it count toward their Paul Harris Society obligation.
Bill, this is Jim. I have at least 3 members in our district who put their entire Paul Harris Society to Polio Plus this year. So that can happen.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Good deal.
those are the 3 options: are annual fund, Polio Plus, or an approved global grant.
Yep. So that's just communication that we need to have with our members. So that they know that, especially the ones that's really passionate about some of these global grants.
Yeah.
So
I got a question for Greg though. When somebody does like what I just suggested, donate their whole Paul Harris to Polio Plus, does that impact the money that gets counted or affect how much comes back for DDF and from the annual fund?
Yes, it does. And I
Most
think that's just
definitely.
making people aware. I would, and yes, it reduces the annual fund because it has to be annual fund unrestricted. So anybody that's designating to a specific global grant or Polio Plus doesn't count. However, that being said, we just have to realize that I would never, remove an avenue that is of peak interest to a Rotarian. So
Yeah.
they just need to be aware of it. And I guess the club leadership needs to be more aware that when they can't count that when they're going to say, what are they going to get back? Or, are they going to get Star Club status or whatever the case may be? I think that's more of an education to the leadership of the clubs when they're trying to hit specific goals, looking at district grants. But, because that's my biggest problem I've had is the leadership, just assumes that they, well, I'm way over 100 per capita. I go, well, that's not the way it works. So it's education to the leaderships of the club. But, I'm perfectly happy with giving, Rotarians any avenue that, is close to their heart and not restricting that access.
Thank you.
Well, and I would say that as far as Paul Harris Society goes, in the PowerPoint that I use, or if I'm not using a PowerPoint, the speech that I'm giving to clubs, it does tell them that they can designate those areas.
Yep. All right, very good. Let's move on because we're right at the hour now and we got one more category to get through, but I'm going to try to breeze through that pretty quickly. The last part of this category 6 in partnerships, one summit. I don't think we're going to be doing that, but RLI we will, and that would fill up number 6. So I think that covers that. The last.
Baron,
Yes.
you could also put what we did on Saturday under 6,
Yep.
which is basically all other, because that's what we're doing on the membership side.
Yep, we can certainly do that. All right, let's get through category 7. And Chuck, this is going to have you in here.
Sure.
On number 2, that's all you.
Well, let me ask you something too. Let's back up a second too, because on number 1, with a Rotary alumnus involved, in fact, my next meeting is with Andrea Norris, who is our alumni chair.
Yep.
And that's part of the going to be our membership game plan too. So hopefully that will happen.
Well, and that's, just getting one of them, especially when you and Andrea identify some Rotary alumni that needs to be involved. I mean, district sponsored event. I mean, that's district conference. That's, Gathering for Good. That's any other kind of district sponsored. I mean, we do several things. So let's chat about Gathering for Good down the road. That may be a good one to show what the foundation has done this with someone. Yeah, I agree 100%.
Okay. Yeah, number 2, we'll consider that happen.
Right.
So,
and then let's see, Rotary Foundation team members deliver presentations to at least 50% of the clubs regarding the importance of giving to the Rotary Foundation. So that's 21 clubs and there's 7 of us. So I think between 7 of us, we could probably achieve that. Don't you think?
Jim, you're doing quite a bit for polio, aren't you?
Yeah, and I'll always talk about the foundation as part of when I say, make a pitch. So you sort of count it.
So Farron, when, like my club, we have somebody that talks about Polio Plus every year from our club, and the same, we have a person who talks about the foundation. Do those not count because they're not team members, one of the 7?
Correct. So that would mean, Carol, that you get to stand up and talk about it.
Right. Well, I know that's what you said. I just wasn't sure about whether the clubs that have people designated, whether that, I guess we ought to know that. So maybe we try to hit the clubs that don't. We'll see.
Yep. And the thing is, it all depends on how recent a club has had a foundation presentation. Like our club, for example, we have quite a few members that contribute to the foundation, but I can't remember the last time we had a foundation presentation. It was, I know it's been 2 or 3 years ago. And I think it was Jim Mattis that did it. If I recall correctly. So it's just, even with clubs that has heard it before, it's not a bad idea, especially if it's been 2 or 3 years since they've heard it, to just bring it up again and say, this is how it works. Because, those clubs, even though they've heard it before, they have new members that don't understand the first thing about the foundation, because it takes a while to wrap your head around all the stuff that happens with this organization. So having a meeting to let the new members realize that, okay, well, this is the bigger part of Rotary, and this is why we're able to do stuff worldwide, because of what we contribute to this foundation. It's the crux of Rotary, as I say.
Yeah, I
Well,
agree.
and-
I'm probably just spoiled because our club hears it every year from whoever's assigned to it. So, but that's probably unusual.
Yeah.
Well, same with Leewood too. We, in November, we have a foundation presentation by our chair. And Bill, don't y'all talk about it at Manhattan too?
Oh, we have once a month at least, a presentation on Rotary Foundation, but it's a minute long.
Yeah.
We have a minute
Rotary Minute.
on Polio Plus at about the same frequency.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it simply keeps it before the club on a regular basis.
So I think that in category 7, 1, 2, and 3 are doable. And, Stephanie and I were talking about this, and, number 4 is a hard nut to crack.
Yes.
Because that is a very difficult area. And I don't know that we really want to delve down that too far. I'm thinking, we only have to get 3. So
I think all of us, all areas have that. We do in membership too. And I was going to see what the thought was with you and Dave and Jim when we meet on Friday.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's tough.
well, that's a real tough one, because as we all know, if you focus on one particular faction of people, you're leaving out all the other factions. And so that's where it starts getting really difficult, because you don't want to focus on this area or that area too much, because then you're leaving out somebody else. And that's where it gets really difficult to approach this. But that's probably a conversation we need to have on Friday when we meet. But and then number 5, the other, that's something that can get created. But I think going through this, I think that we definitely can do at least 3 in every single one of these categories.
Yeah.
But it's
And
gonna
4
take-
in some of them.
Well, as I was on a call this morning with District 5630 about membership, and one of the things that we discussed with their DG right now is that delegation is a big thing. If you don't delegate, it's not going to happen. So this is my delegation to you guys. So I would like, your categories that you have here that we've gone through. So if you can give me some write-ups and narratives on this that I can put together and put in front of Stephanie, and I'm going to do my part. I've got quite a bit I need to write up as well, but that would help me out a lot for you guys to do some of your narratives in your areas. Send that over to me, and I'll compile it and put it in front of Stephanie so she can have something to present on September 1. Not everything we're going to get accomplished by September 1, but I think all the things that are that time sensitive, we can do. And
Yeah, we can. We can.
Farron, I have a question. I don't quite understand. I tried to ask Kyle about this. As far as reporting these things, does it have to go in to the region over Stephanie's signature, or as each of the chairs send it in independently? It's a little confusing as to how reporting gets done.
I think it goes through Stephanie. I think
Okay.
she's the one that's supposed to be submitting it, but
Okay.
she is doing exactly what I would do. Is she is pushing it out to her chairs,
Yeah.
and which makes perfect sense. We've got Dave Lewis doing public image. We got Jim doing Polio Plus. We got Chuck doing membership, and I'm doing foundation. So she's pushing it out to us to do this. So, when you push something out to me, that means I'm forming a committee, and my committee's helping.
And ditto on the others too.
Yeah. So, I think
yeah,
we're in good shape here. We just need to get it written up and get it submitted in time.
Yeah, my question is, some of these though, Farron, say that you don't need the write-up. These are the ones beyond September 1st. Like, for example, take Peace Fellowship. You don't need the write-up then until the end of the year,
Right.
year enders.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Part of the plan, you say you're not going to report that out till the end of the year. At least we know what to expect.
Right.
Well, sure. I mean, that's one we've committed on. So that part of it is reported.
Mhm.
Like, for example, when I submit the membership plan, it'll be very similar. It'll be the 21 or more things that we're going to focus on. So same deal.
Chuck, I know you've probably already got this written up and saved on your computer somewhere, but just your timeline of how you put together your Peace Fellows Committee and the members, and when you meet, and those kind of agenda throughout the year that you
Okay,
provided.
sure.
I mean, if you could do something like that, that just shows that, okay, yeah, we are actively pursuing this and expect to be endorsing another candidate for this year. That would be helpful.
They'll do. Consider it done.
All right, very good. All right,
Farron, before we go, I got a quick question for you. As you're probably aware, there is I guess it's a anonymous donor has agreed to double the World Fund donation that matches DDF. If we turn in our DDF transfer request, and you've seen that form because you and I talked about it. I wonder where we stand on getting that put together and getting that transfer done so that we get the credit and get the additional to get the World Fund donation up to $1 instead of 50 cents. You know what the form I'm talking about that Bob.
yeah, I do. And that form is nothing more than a commitment. It's just a signature, is all it is.
Yeah.
And so it's that's should be done anytime. I mean, you can bring that up Friday too.
Yeah, and then the question is, does Stephanie or do you make the actual request of the RI to make the transfer of those funds? Who does that?
Yes, Stephanie and I do that.
Okay,
It's both of us because none of the DDF can be transferred anywhere without both Stephanie and I's signature.
yeah, and I just want to make sure we're moving out on that because I'd like to report that back to the zone coordinators as soon as
Right.
possible.
Right. Well, as I said, they still have to recognize me as DRFC, which should be happening hopefully any day now.
Good.
I actually went online today to see if they had it updated yet, but they haven't.
Aaron,
And
it could be
Stephanie's
a week.
already sent out a couple of emails to them to try to push them and say, okay, come on, when's it going to be? Come on. We got a lot of stuff to do here. Greg and I have got a lot of stuff to do here really soon too. So it's this needs to get done so we can start signing away. But anyway, that's what we're waiting on, Jim, right there.
Okay.
That, and it's a really easy thing. All she's got to do is say yes to it, and then it comes over to me for my approval. I do my approval. It's all electronic. It's pretty simple thing to do. It's just a matter of getting me on and getting it done.
Yep.
All right. Do we have anything else? I know I did most of the talking this time. Next meeting, hopefully you guys will do more talking and I'll do less and more note taking. But I wanted to go through the challenge with you and thank you for being committee members with the foundation. This is extremely helpful to say the least. Because when I look over this, it's like, I don't want to be writing novels, but so I'm going to give you guys chapters to write for me.
Hey, I'm glad this is recorded because I'll just use it for membership committee, what you said, Farron. You're doing my job for me. Thank you.
All right. So we're 15 minutes over and I got another phone call to make, but thank you all for helping.
Me too.
Good to see y'all.
Yeah.
Hey, good to see everybody. Look forward to working together with y'all.
Oh, yes. All right.
Yeah.
We'll be meeting next month.